As anyone who's in it for the long haul will know, the process of exploring and creating music is never static. It's an evolutionary path filled with challenges, exciting developments, and self-discovery. We may stumble upon an instrument that allows us to express ourselves in new ways, a piece of gear that requires learning an ancillary skill set, thus broadening our range of experience, or even a piece of information that changes how we view music as a whole. Sometimes we can see where we're headed on this journey and what awaits us, while other times we may be surprised and captivated by the things we encounter along the way. Hey everyone, I'm Dace, and today I'm sharing a little about my time with the Vane Pitch Shifter by Klowra. I'll briefly explain what it is, but bear in mind this is not a demonstration video, as many videos already cover that ground. I'm more interested in sharing how it's impacted me, how I use it, and what music I've focused on with it so far. Welcome, and I trust you enjoy the video. At its core, the Vane is a polyphonic pitch shifter that offers 17 pitch intervals, low latency, and packs solid function and build quality. In addition to all the pitch, octave, and harmonization related stuff, it features LFO-based microtonal modulation, analog dry-through, true or buffered bypass, a glide function, a ramp function that offers linear parameter variation, and loads more. You've also got both latching and momentary triggering, so right out of the box it's got options, flexibility, and serious potential. Unlike videos which save the heartwarming moral of the story or key takeaway for the end, I'd like to get into that now. I think the bottom line is that the Vane has stirred a way to bring new life to ideas that have either sat untouched for a while, or ones I'd likely never touch again. This was completely unexpected in the best way possible, because I experiment more and dig deeper into that experimentation through longer sessions, and it's incredibly enjoyable. When I first got the Vane, I was mostly focused on electric guitar since I was comboing it with the EQD Avalanche Run V2 for expansive ambient soundscapes. This was interesting and totally feasible, but I could tell it wasn't where I wanted to be or how I wanted to be using the Vane. Next, I dabbled with synthesizers and various electronic instruments, but this still didn't feel like the path for right now. I think subconsciously I knew I wanted to dial things in that much more. When I decided to boot up my Machine MK2, which barely gets used these days compared to my portable gear, I was immediately struck by how much of a lo-fi vibe the Vane could contribute to track ideas. With an abundance of audio that I could run through the pedal, it was like I had struck gold, and I haven't touched anything but the MK2 and Vane since. The pedal complemented things so nicely that I could lose myself for hours in what felt like dusty tapes with powdery drums evoking a warm, lived-in atmosphere. Whether it was a cozy old living room or the smell of wet pavement on a hot summer day in the 90s after a brief afternoon rain, I was all for it. It's been really cool and refreshing connecting with a device that's new and interesting, and so strongly inspires me to revisit tracks I started over a year ago. A development like this is one of those delightful surprises I mentioned earlier. I think part of the magic for me is that the pedal feels like its own instrument. While many pedals function as FX layering units you can largely set and forget, or that really only inspire moderate tweaking, the Vane strikes me as being something I want my hands on at all times, or close to it. With the interaction between the rate, detune, and mix knobs, the joy of messing with the pitch select, plus the ramp and glide functions, which I'll touch on momentarily, the Vane encourages you to be more active. This keeps things interesting and engaging, which ultimately leads you deeper into the realm of discovery. The ramp and glide functions are two of my favorite features. In a nutshell, ramp is used to fade between full parameter setups, not just the pitch. You have your panel set, which is your current configuration, and your snap set, which is a saved parameter snapshot. On the other hand, glide is like a portamento, allowing you to control the transition between one state and another. You can either engage instantaneously, have a longer, smoother glide, or decide on something in between those two extremes. Here are a couple of things I would encourage the development team to consider. The first is longer transition windows. I could see myself getting really into longer durations because then, instead of it feeling like things go from point A to point B that much faster, I'd have more time to shape and refine the sound before it reaches its destination. Since I'm treating the Vane as a very hands-on instrument, I'm more interested in having that kind of potential. As you can imagine, I always have my glide attack and release knobs maxed. The second consideration would be to introduce a glissando effect that could transition across multiple full parameter sets, or at the very least multiple pre-selected pitches. This way you could either set a path for the effect to follow while you're making other tweaks and whatnot, or have it where the press of a button changes to the next desired pitch shift for times you want it to feel more in the moment. But all in all, these are not complaints about the pedal as it stands, just things that would be neat to see introduced to the Vane at a later date or in a future pedal entirely. Because I entered a bit of an experimental lo-fi wormhole with the Vane, I feel like there's still a boatload of potential to explore outside of that, especially considering the Vane is more capable than the couple of highlights and use cases I've touched on today. But I think it's fair to say that this thing has a ton of features packed into it, so whether it's aggressive metal, laid-back acoustic, punk opera, slasher film OSTs, you name it, the Vane feels like it's going to have a home in whatever genre you throw it into. It's just a matter of discovering where it fits into your musical journey. The Vane has consistently gotten better the more I've learned and used it, so I'm excited to see what else I can discover as I continue exploring it, and what their other pedals have to offer when I can get my hands on them. A huge thanks to Klowra for providing me with the Vane, and for all of the awesome correspondence. If you're interested in the Vane or Klowra's other pedals, you can find the appropriate links in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.